Hey guys, it's Melissa with Awaken Your Inner Awesomeness. I thought I would talk to you today about what to do if you find yourself feeling down and you're unable to pull yourself out of that deep hole. It happens to us all from time to time. Circumstances in our life or situations, just different things can come up that can cause us to feel not like ourselves. It can cause us to feel anxiety or depression. And sometimes it can be hard to pull ourselves out of that. I mean, we can expect from time to time that we're just not going to feel like ourselves. And honestly, oftentimes the different astrological things are part of the reason that causes it. And I really only started learning about this not that long ago. But we recently had Mercury in retrograde and then Mars in retrograde, and now Venus is going retrograde. And apparently all of these things cause different emotions to come up, or they can cause things from the past to come up if there are karmic lessons or lessons from our past that we need to really revisit and to learn those lessons and move on. Those can come back to us. And I know that was definitely the case for me in the Mercury retrograde. I was just not feeling like myself at all. I tried to put on a happy face all the time. And deep down inside, I was just miserable. I just didn't feel like myself. I kept falling back into this place of going back to past relationships and trying to figure out what I did wrong, what happened, trying to do that. And as I said yesterday in the podcast, you don't want to live in the past. That's not a good place to be. And what that did for me was it just really kind of dragged me further down into depression. Really, I think I was depressed for a while. And I just couldn't, I had a hard time pulling myself out of it. And obviously I did eventually, but I don't know how to describe it other than it was a dark place, and I couldn't tell you why I was there, but I was having a hard time getting out and feeling like myself again. And when I went back and listened to all of these podcasts and all of these experts, they were saying that, it's, Mercury in retrograde, it's causing all of these feelings to come out. And, so at least in some way, I felt better that, okay, well, there's a reason. But it didn't make me feel better because I wanted this to end. Like, I didn't want to be stuck in this awful place because depression is not fun, or just being anxious, going back to the past and feeling regret, that's not fun either. And it was a place that I did not want to stay. And so I want to talk to you today about what can you do? Because when I was going through that, it felt like there wasn't anything I could do. And that's how I felt. But the reality was there's a lot of things that I could have done. And there are things that I eventually did do that helped me to move past that period in my life. So I want to share with you some of the things that I did that helped me out a lot. One of the things that I did was I tried to pay really close attention to my thoughts. And whenever I felt myself starting to go down that path of, what happened in that relationship, trying to go back to the past, I immediately had to stop myself. Because for a while, I would just allow myself to go down that path, and then just the thoughts would get worse and worse. So I had to be very vigilant about when I saw those, when I recognized that those thoughts were popping up into my head, I had to say stop. And I had to focus my attention on something else. I had to change my story. And one of the things you can do is to bless your past. and let it move on. So you recognize that you're having that thought, and so you give, I don't know what I'm trying to say. You acknowledge that thought. Thank you. That's what I was trying to say. You acknowledge that thought. So you do acknowledge that it's there and that it exists. But then you bless it and send it on its way. So you don't spend more than a couple of seconds with that thought. So if I were to have a thought like, I always screw up relationships, I acknowledge that I had that thought, and I say, you know what? I bless my past relationships and anyone that I was in a relationship with, and now I'm letting that thought go. That thought's not, I'm not going to give power to that thought. I acknowledge that I had it, I'm letting it go, I'm blessing my past, and now I'm saying bye-bye. I'm not going to stay in that thought. I'm not going to accept that into my mind as something that's going to be part of my story now. I'm not doing it. Another thing that I did was to write down any and all of these thoughts that I kept having, because I do feel like we kind of need to acknowledge that we're having them just so we can do something with them. So I wrote down all of the thoughts that I was having in a journal, and then I looked at the list of things that I was saying and said to myself, these are just lies that my ego is telling me, and these are not true, and I'm not going to give them value. And then I wrote a truth next to what the lie was. So if I wrote down, for example, that I didn't show up authentically in my past relationships. Okay, that was the truth that I saw as the truth. And so next to that, then I would write, I'm learning how to be myself in relationships, and I'm getting better and better at it every day. So I try to spin it into something positive that can help me grow and to learn. But being in that negative, that doesn't help me at all. Like just putting that out there and saying, I suck at this, that's not helpful. So I have to change that thought into something that can help me and can help me grow. And the more I did that, the more that negativity changed to hope and positivity. And all of a sudden, I just felt like very hopeful, just and happy, because I knew that even though I had made mistakes in my past, I'm learning from them and I'm growing and I'm moving forward. And in the future, I'm not going to make those same mistakes again, because now I know what they are. I've acknowledged them, I've fixed them, and moving forward, things are only going to be better. And it filled me up with so much hope, because I knew that I had done the work that I needed to do in my life. And, it's like the old saying, you can't do the same thing and expect different results. Well, I am not doing that anymore. I took the initiative to do things to help me learn how to be better in relationships and to recognize the mistakes that I was making myself. And so now in the future and moving forward, I know better, so I'm going to do better, and it's going to yield better results. And there's so much positivity and hope in that. I mean, it's awesome. Like, I can't even wait to meet my future partner, because it's going to be awesome. Because I put so much work into this, and I know that I'm not going to settle for somebody who doesn't deserve me. And I'm not going to settle for crumbs, so it was hopeful for me. And same thing with my business, that around that same time, I was also really worried about starting a business and how is this going to go, and, all these negative things. So I did the same thing there. I sat down and I thought about all of the things that were bothering me and what I was afraid of. And I told myself, no, okay, these are lies. This is not true. This is something my ego is telling me to keep me small. I am so much bigger and better than this. I can do anything I set my mind to. I'm proving it daily. I know what I'm worth. And I know that everything works out in divine timing. Things are going on behind the scenes to help me with this. And I mean, so very true to that. Since then, I've had people telling me like, oh, thank you for what you do. It's so helpful and I appreciate you. And those are things that at the time I didn't know. I didn't know that it was helping anyone. And I was really questioning, why do I do this? Why am I bothering? I don't know that it's helping anyone. I don't know that anybody's listening. And, I'm stressing myself out to get these things out there. And I don't really know that anybody cares. And then all of a sudden, these people came forward and said, I care and you make a difference. And it was amazing because I only cared if I made a difference in one person's life. And it's been many people who've come forward and touched my heart, just telling me that they appreciate me being there and doing what I do. And this is exactly why I do it. Someone was there for me and was able to do that for me. And now I can in turn pay it forward and do that for other people. So I so appreciate you guys telling me that. And I appreciate the fact that I get to do that. Like, I get to do this all of the time, and it's amazing. I love it. So, think about why you're telling yourself that. What are you telling yourself? And try to rewrite those stories. And I promise you that once you sit down and you really change your thoughts and you change what you tell yourself, it changes your attitude. It changes everything because it gives you hope. And it makes you look forward to the future. And when we're depressed and anxious, usually we're dreading whatever the future holds. But when we are hopeful and when we have so much excitement, it's because we're looking forward to it. But also another thing is, don't try to get ahead of yourself. Don't try to go too far into the future. As we said in another podcast, it was yesterday's podcast. Try to be in the present moment and spend quality time with friends and people who make you laugh. They just make you enjoy being in the present, because that's what it's all about anyway. Life is all about making connections with people you care about. It's all about love. Really, everything in life comes down to two things: love and fear. And when we make our decisions and do things out of love, it's amazing. But when we make our decisions based on fear, we create such a mess for ourselves. And I can tell you that anytime I look back in my past at all and point out an example of when something went wrong for me, I can almost always point out that I made a decision that was fear-based, not based in love. And it had disastrous consequences. And it's a learning experience. Everything is a learning experience. I don't take things as failures. I take them as, maybe I took a detour. It took me a little longer to get to where I was supposed to be because I chose the wrong path, which not even really a wrong path, but I chose the path that was going to take longer to get me where I wanted to go. And which pretty much describes my driving anyway. Anyone that knows me really well can tell you that I have a horrible sense of direction and I'm always getting lost. So go figure that I would take the wrong path. But I've learned a lot and I've grown a lot. And so another thing that you can do is make sure that you are taking really good care of yourself. Self-care is so super important, especially if you're an empath. You are taking on everyone's emotions around you, and that can become very draining. And even when you're not realizing it, you're taking on the emotions of those around you. It just happens. And if you are in a field where you're around a lot of people, like I'm a teacher, and let me tell you, there are days when I just want to go home, sit on the couch, and do nothing because I have no energy. And it's just because I've spent it all day long dealing with all of the different energies of those kids in my class. And I love it, and I love what I do, and I love them, but it's very draining. So you have to make sure that you are taking good care of yourself. Go get a massage, take a hot bath with Epsom salt and some essential oils. I love putting on lavender oil, or even they have a Calm blend, which is really good. doTERRA has that, and I love it. And the thing is, you have to be careful about what essential oils you buy, because there are some cheap ones on, like you can get on eBay or Amazon. But the problem is that they're not really that pure with the oil. So sometimes those fragrances can give me a headache because they're like a fake fragrance, if that makes any sense. And so those tend to give me a headache. But the ones from doTERRA are really good, and they're pure, and it doesn't take a lot because they're pretty strong. And so it lasts a long time. And I love that because I'll light some candles and then put on some really good music. Sometimes it's just soft music with no words, some classical music, or there's music that can help raise your energy vibration. I'll put that on and then put on the essential oil, and it's great. It's totally relaxing. You could have a glass of wine or a beer, whatever you enjoy, just to relax a little bit. Go for a walk in nature. Grounding yourself in nature is a great way to balance yourself again. Just go outside, and when you go for a walk, though, don't have music on. Just go for a walk and clear your head. There's a lot of things you could do. You could do some yoga. I've tried so hard to get into yoga, and it's great, and I would recommend it for people, but I don't love yoga like everyone else does, and I don't want to get a hate mail or anything, because I think yoga is great. It's awesome, and it's great for flexibility, and it clears your mind. I highly recommend it to others. I'm just not a huge fan of it myself. Like, I just don't enjoy it. I do it, but I don't really enjoy it, and I hate even saying that, but that's just how I am. But I know other people love it, and I do know that whenever I do yoga, I sleep like a baby afterwards. So I will just force myself to do it sometimes, just because I know it's going to make me sleep better, because it does balance everything. Listening to music is another great way to raise your vibration. Work on your vision board. That's a great way too, because you can get excited about what it is you want to manifest and what you want to see in your life. So work on that. There's so many great things we can do to raise our vibrations and to even out our emotions. The other thing you can do is Reiki, and I do Reiki on myself. When I start feeling blah and I know I start to feel crappy, I just do Reiki on myself, and that does help. And I clear my own chakras, and I do meditations, and it helps so much. So consider Reiki too. If you're feeling like you're stuck in that place of, I just don't feel like myself, I'm feeling just really off and like not like me, Reiki is great, because we can get to the heart of what it is that's really bothering you, and we can do many different things to help clear that out. So if you're interested in Reiki, check out my website. Or if you're interested in getting some essential oils too for that nice hot bath you're going to be taking, you can message me for that, or check out my website for that as well. When I'm at work sometimes, I diffuse essential oils, because it just helps me when I'm sitting there and I'm just having a stressful day. Diffusing some lavender is awesome. And when the kids come in and they're sick and they're sneezing all over the place, and I'm like, I cannot afford to be sick, and I'm not going to have this, I'll diffuse On Guard too, because that, I think, really helps clear the air and clear the germs in the air. So check out my website for more information about that. Maybe you need a new direction in your life. Maybe you need to up-level spiritually. Maybe you need more things to do to refocus yourself. If you're interested in that, check out A Purposeful Pilgrimage. It's on my website as well, all the details. But just know that this too shall pass. Everything will pass. This time of depression and anxiety, it's not going to last. We have to go through those things sometimes, because I believe that it is the closing of one cycle and the start of a new cycle of something better. So we have to sometimes do that. We have to shed our old skin in order to grow this wonderful and beautiful new skin. And it's just how it happens. So I hope that this has given you some kind of hope for the future, and to know that if you are going through something, it's going to be okay. You're going to be fine. The universe is there for you. Your spiritual team is there for you. Call on them, ask them for help. We can say a prayer to Archangel Uriel to help heal us from emotional wounds. We can call on Archangel Michael to cut the cords for any past negative energies that are still hanging around us. There's so many things we can do. And I hope that you will take the time to take care of yourself, and don't beat yourself up if you are in that place, because we all go there from time to time. The important thing is not to stay there, to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, do what you need to do, and get right back out there again. The world desperately needs you. You are valuable, you are loved, you are important. I love you guys so much, and I'm so thankful for you all. If you like this podcast, please share it with your friends. Please like it on iTunes, give me some stars, leave me comments. I love reading those. Thank you so much for that. And I will talk to you again soon. Have a fabulous day. Bye-bye.